Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever removed a romantic subplot between Namor and Shuri, which is really insult to injury after they used VFX to rub out that Yes, I look and sound a little bit different because I'm shooting this video in a New Rockstars HQ, but really it's the same blue dungeon. It's just all one big room that spans continents and dimensions. I mean, let's face it, Shuri and Namor went from watching an underwater sunrise to the next thing we see them in immediately in a different location, wearing different clothes, exchanging jewelry. And in my experience, what happens in between those two things is, well, a few weeks of being in the friend zone until she moves on to a taller guy. But if I look like Tenoch Huerta, I mean, this movie's editor revealed to Newsweek that there were takes of Namor's scenes with Shuri with a romantic subtext coming from the actors. He went as far to say that there was a whole other version of the movie in which Shuri reacts to Namor giving her that bracelet by asking, "Am I queen of Talokan now?" While how scripted this romantic moment actually was is debated, there legitimately was a deleted Shuri-Namor subplot in this film, a huge section of the script that had to be reworked. And let's be real, you can't leave these two alone for too long before someone sticks their spear in the other. I'm talking about the fight, come on, get your mind out of the gutter, that's where I live. Let's dive in. Okay, the editor of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Michael P. Shaver, told Newsweek that he and director Ryan Coogler removed takes in which Letitia Wright and Tenoch Huerta seemed to have some romantic chemistry, more than the diplomatic relationship between a princess and a rival king. The editor said, "I think what's really interesting is there were takes where there was some connection there, and at one point in an early cut, we discussed like, hey, do we leave it there? Do we just put it out there? Let's just add some complexity to the relationship." But then you've got to watch out for portraying, for example, Shuri flirting to get what she wants as opposed to being a diplomatic leader and becoming the leader that she needs to be, that she'll get to at the end. And Shaver continued, "They relate, and I think that anytime we can relate to somebody, there can be undertones of that kind of thing, you know what I mean? Honestly, we've got to keep ourselves sane and laugh a lot, especially with the tougher moments or the serious moments, so we would always joke that when he gave her that bracelet, they were married now, and she didn't know it." There's a whole other different movie where Shuri's like, "Wait, what, I'm the queen of Talokan now?" So you can kind of see this is more of a joke that he and Ryan Coogler had in the editing bay based off of how Letitia Wright was playing it in that particular take. And after this went around last week, production designer Hannah Beachler stepped in to clarify, quote, "While there was a curiosity and seemingly a mutual experience of loss, never any scenes that would be considered typical romance or physical intimacy were filmed. So what we ultimately focused on was Namor's line where he says only the most damaged people can be truly great leaders, and that's planting the seed of the shared trauma that she realizes at the end." But still, even Hannah Beachler says there was a curiosity there, and one wonders if the relationship was scripted to be one of rival leaders sharing loss. Why did some takes contain enough throbbing curiosity that the movie's editor, unprompted, brought it up in interviews like this? Well, the answer is the fact that this movie's second act was reportedly completely reworked, even more than just some removed flirty eyes. According to Shaver himself in other parts of the interview that really fewer people are talking about, he revealed, quote, "There was a subplot in it where Shuri and Riri worked together to help Namor do something in Talokan, and it was a vessel for Shuri and Riri to bond and to feel their smart scientist connection that they have, which we were able to implement later in the movie with reshoots. When we took that section out, that solved one problem, but then came several other issues because then we felt like Riri wasn't as involved in the story in the movie. Riri basically became a MacGuffin as opposed to a real character, which we don't like. People should be fleshed out, real people, so we had to find ways to have them connect. For example, he added later Shuri and Riri together coming up with the solution to defeat Namor by stopping him from being able to absorb oxygen through his skin." But the editor continued, "Once that gets taken out, then there was less of a relationship, but there was also less plot stuff that was keeping us informed. So then we realized, okay, while Shuri's down there in Talokan, we need to have Ramonda be more active to get her daughter back, and we need to get to Lupita a little quicker. We need to get her involved." Now, when you watch this movie, you can pinpoint the moment where this reconfiguration took place.
Now, we're always hungry, right? Like, yes, hungry for the latest Easter eggs, hungry for the newest trailers, hungry for more movies and shows featuring our favorite heroes and stars, but also just literally hungry. The amount of time I've had to think about food vastly outpaces the amount of time I've had to get and prepare tasty meals, which is why I love to use Factor. And yeah, I know I've said the same thing about HelloFresh, but that's because both are true. Factor is now owned by HelloFresh, which means that there's a wider array of meal plans to choose from. I switched between both brands, and now new Rockstars viewers can do the same thing while getting a discounted deal on food. You know, the thing I'm still thinking about. Factor cuts out the stressful meal planning and extensive prepping, so meals come together in minutes, taking all the guesswork out of what to make for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Factor meals arrive pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes, even faster than ordering in takeout.
I'm the Eggman.
All right, gonna peel it off. I love shrimp.
This is so good. I'm a happy shrimp.
Yeah, see how easy that was? Eating well should always be this easy. One of the things I like about Factor is how it makes possible to achieve your daily fitness goals through nutritious, purposeful eating. Factor offers keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, and vegan plus veggie options, which include seafood, meat, and plant-based meals. Meal plans offer variety with a rotating weekly menu of 25 and more meal options, and Factor Plus add-ons. Choose your favorite meals or let Factor craft your order based on your taste preferences and meal history. To get started with Factor today, head to go.factor75.com/rockstars60 and use the code rockstars60 to get 60% off your first Factor box. Again, that site is go.factor75.com/rockstars60 and use the code rockstars60 to get 60% off your first Factor box.
There's a scene where Namor takes Shuri on a tour of Talokan, and he shows her this underwater pyramid structure that we never get too much information about. Shuri says, "It's beautiful. It's made of vibranium?" And Namor's like, "Yes, in the depths of the ocean, I brought the sun to my people." And no one knows what the he meant by that, but hey, it looks cool. But before we get any information on what this is exactly, we get to Shuri as Namor continues off screen saying, "I know you want to spare the life of the scientist, but," and then back to Namor on screen as he says, "Now you see what I have to protect." But from this, we cut to the scene where Nakia finds the water hole in the jungle and Ramonda directs her to go rescue Shuri. And then we cut somewhat awkwardly to Shuri and Namor back in Namor's man cave, where he gives her the bracelet and says, "You are the first person from the surface world to visit Talokan. Please take this as a symbol of our gratitude." What? Why is Namor thanking Shuri here? What did she do to earn this? Like, hey, here's my mother's bracelet made of a sacred hemp. You get to have it now for visiting. I mean, I guess it's an incentive to get her to join his side, but when she ends this scene not joining him, why would he let her keep his mother's bracelet? I mean, no wonder Letitia Wright did a few takes of this scene with some romantic subtext. But this scene serves several functions to the movie. Namor giving Shuri the bracelet that she'll use to resynthesize the heart-shaped herb, Namor inspiring Shuri with the line of "only the most damaged broken people can become great leaders." But overall, it's a bit tonally clunky. Like, ideally, every movie scene is its own well-crafted story arc of shifting character outlooks and values that express the movie's theme in a clever way. Not every scene in every movie is going to be a winner, but this scene is just clearly meant to be some more connective tissue to get the movie from A to B and to set some stuff up for the final act. And in that regard, it does a good job. But now it's clear why this scene feels so tonally strained. The movie's editor is confirming that there was a major second act subplot where Shuri and Riri used their scientific knowledge and engineering skills to help Namor somehow in Talokan. And I think it had to do with this mysterious underwater solar device that rises from a vibranium pyramid. Perhaps these two women fixed it so the people of Talokan would have some more efficient infrastructure, something that they would desperately need, and something Shuri and Riri would have unique insights on how to do. That would explain why we never really got an answer of what this thing really was, why the editing around this part of the movie was so choppy, why that scene in the cave seemed so overburdened, and yeah, why Letitia Wright might have played these scenes with a bit of subtext that could just be read the wrong way in certain takes. There's just so much there for any actor to have to communicate emotionally. And in the final cut of the film, she does a perfect job. And yeah, overall, this film does not at all get derailed or anything as a result of this part. We mostly just come out of Talokan a little confused why we didn't see more of it, and the film moves on to more important matters. That said, if you want to come out of this movie with the headcanon assumption that before Namor killed Ramonda and the brief period when he and Shuri were alone, unaccounted for, in a version of this movie where Shuri helped Namor fix his pool light to earn that bling that helped her roid up and regrow her garden, yeah, I think Shuri and Namor and the VFX artist erased the evidence. Let me know your thoughts on this. You can follow me on TikTok, Hive, Instagram, and Twitter at Erik Voss. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.